Hello students, I hope you all are fine and safe at your homes. Today we'll start class 8 chapter number 1, that is natural resources. You all know what are natural resources? Natural resources are those resources which we get from the nature. For example, forest, wildlife, water, soil, everything are our natural resources which we used to get from the nature. Natural resources are divided into two categories: living resources and non-living resources. Natural resources are divided into two categories: living resources and non-living resources. Living resources are those resources which are living in nature, for example, plants and animals. Non-living resources are those resources which don't have any life on them, for example, air, water, soil. These are non-living things. Again, living resources divide into two categories: forest, first one, and next one is wildlife. In forest we'll study about the different plants, okay, different plants and trees. But in wildlife, what we used to study about the different animals, okay, about different organism. So living things are categorized into two parts: forest and wildlife. Non-living resources are again classified into two categories: renewable resources and non-renewable resources. So what do you understand by renewable resources? Renewable resources are those resources which can be renewed in the future, okay. Examples of renewable resources are of two types: inexhaustible and exhaustible. Next category is our non-renewable resources. Non-renewable resources are those resources which can be renewed, which cannot be renewed in the future, which we cannot get back in the future. Examples of non-renewable resources are minerals, fossil fuels. If we will use them in a large quantity, what will happen? A time will come when these resources will finish. We will not get it back from the nature. Renewable resources are divided into two categories: inexhaustible and exhaustible resources. Inexhaustible means which will not finish in the future. Exhaustible means which will finish off in the future. Inexhaustible resources are those resources which will not finish in the future. Example is solar energy and wind energy. This we get from the nature. Exhaustible resources are those resources if we use in a large amount or in a large quantity, one day will come, it will finish off. Examples are wildlife and forest. So what we have studied from this? Natural resources are divided into two categories: living and non-living. Living resources are of two types: forest and wildlife. Non-living resources are also of two types: renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Renewable resources are of two types: inexhaustible and exhaustible. Examples of inexhaustible resources are solar energy and wind energy. Example of exhaustible resources are wildlife and forest. Okay. Now let's start with this chapter. We see various kinds of living and non-living things around us. We all know that in our surrounding we can see the different types of living and non-living things. Things that occur in nature and that are useful to us are called natural resources. So this is the definition of your natural resources. Okay. So what are natural resources? Things which occur or present in the nature and which are useful to us are called natural resources. Many of these natural resources are essential for our survival. Some of them are used for satisfying our needs. Okay, some of the resources are very important for us because without those resources we cannot survive also. A large number of these resources are either living, derived from the living organism. Means what they are saying, that some of the resources are living in nature, means get those resources from the living organism. Forest and wildlife are examples of living resources. Forest and wildlife are the examples of natural resources. Forest products like timber, animal products like leather are described as living resources. From forest we get many things like wood, timber, fruits, gums, resins, etc. Those are living resources. And from that animal products, what do we get? Leather, milk, okay, those things we get from the animals. Fossil fuels. Now this fossil fuel, what are the examples of fossil fuels? Coal and petroleum are the fossil fuels like coal and petroleum products are derived from remains of decayed dead organism over a long period of time. So what are fossil fuels? Fossil fuels are those fuels which we get from the dead and decayed remains of the organism for a long time. Means for the formation of fossil fuels, it takes millions of times. Examples of fossil fuels are coal and petroleum. Soil, water, air, and mineral ores are examples of non-living resources. Means the soil, air, and water, they don't have any life in them. Okay, so these are the examples of mineral resources. These are the examples of non-living resources. You all know that in soil, water, air, no life is there. So these are the examples of non-living resources. Some natural resources get replenished in nature easily. Means we can get back those things again in our life again. Such resources are called renewable natural resources. What are renewable natural resources? The resources which get replenished in nature or get renewed in nature easily are called renewable natural resources. Replenish means which will get back it easily. Okay. Wildlife, forests, etc. are example of renewable natural resources. Okay. Examples of renewable natural resources are wildlife and forests. Some of the resources are continuously available for use. For example, solar energy and wind energy. Such resources are described as inexhaustible resources. We have already discussed this. What are inexhaustible resources? The resources which will not finish in the future or which are easily available for us are called inexhaustible resources. Example, solar energy and wind energy. Resources like forests and wildlife may get depleted by continuous use or interference by humans. Other example, now we'll talk about exhaustible resources. Inexhaustible resources, what are the examples? Forest and wildlife. If we will continue to use this forest and wildlife for a long period of time, what will happen? A time will come when no more forest or wildlife can be seen around us. So such examples are called exhaustible resources. They can be replenished to maintain a, however, they can be replenished to maintain a flow. Okay, so what are exhaustible resources? Exhaustible resources are those resources which can get depleted if we will use it continuously. Okay, example, forest and wildlife. Some natural resources have been formed on the earth. Okay, generally all the resources from where do we get those things? We get from the earth over a long period of time, even billion of years. For example, fossil fuels. We all know that for formation of fossil fuels it takes long time. Okay, billions of years. And minerals. The rate of formation of such mineral is very slow compared to the rate at which they are being used by the humans. You all know that minerals also we get from the earth's surface. We are using the minerals. So many minerals we have which we are using now. If we will use the minerals at an alarming rate, at a high rate, what happens? It will deplete one day, because for the formation of mineral it takes long time, but we are using it at a very fast way or a rapid way. Such resources which cannot be replenished once depleted are called non-renewable resources. So what are non-renewable resources? The resources which cannot be replenished once depleted or which we cannot back again in our future are called non-renewable resources. So you have to remember the definition of renewable and non-renewable resources. So what are renewable resources? Renewable resources are those resources which can be replenished easily. Example, wildlife, forest. Non-renewable resources are those resources which cannot be replenished easily. Example, fossil fuels, coal, petroleum. Let us learn more about some of these natural resources that have a significant influence on human life. Okay. Now we'll discuss about water. Water. You all know water is very essential for our life. Okay. So we'll discuss about water now. Water is a unique natural resource as it is very much essential for the existence of life. You all know that water is very important for us. Without water, we cannot survive. It is the most critical limiting factor for many aspects of life, such as environmental stability, biodiversity conservation, fuel security, and even healthcare. Okay, water is used in many of the sectors, like environment. In environment also it is needed. For maintaining the biodiversity also it is needed. For fuel security, for the fuel purpose also it is needed, and even in the healthcare also water is needed. In most cases there is no substitute for water. Okay, in place of water we cannot use the other things. The most significant aspect of water is that it is a largely irreplaceable resource, unlike energy which has alternatives. Means for other energy sources we can use the other alternatives, but for water we cannot use the other alternatives. In nature, water may change its form, but we can always retrieve it. The earth holds the same quantity of water as it did when it was formed. In the atmosphere, water is present in the form of solid also, in liquid also, and in the form of gases also. In solid it is present in the form of ice. In liquid it is present in the form of water, and in gaseous state it is present in the form of vapors. Okay, you may be aware that our earth surface is nearly 71% water, means 71% of the earth surface is covered with water. Okay, 71% of the earth surface is covered with water. It is one of the most important components required for sustaining life on the earth. Without water, we cannot think of our life. Even the aquatic plants and animals, they also need water. Without the water, the aquatic plants and animals can also not survive. Nearly 97% of water on earth is held in ocean, means 97% of water is in ocean, seas and other large water bodies. 0.011% of water occurs in the atmosphere as water vapor. Water vapor is present in the form of in the percentage of 0.001%. About 2.4% of the water is found in glaciers and polar ice caps. Remaining water is found in rivers, lakes, ponds and other water bodies. As such, a very small percentage of this valuable natural resource is available for human use. Okay, so the water bodies, rivers, lakes, ponds, etc., they all have the water and covers a large portion of our earth atmosphere. With even such a small quantity of water available, humans have been using water for various purposes. You all know that for different types of activities we need water. What are the different uses of water? For drinking, washing clothes, washing vegetables, then for cleaning our houses, for gardening purpose, various purpose of there are various uses of water. Okay, it is essential that average consumption of water by human being ranges from 20 liters to 30 liters per day. Means what they are saying, single human being, they need 20 to 30 liters of water one day. Okay, depending on their activity and place of living. Distribution of water on the earth surface. See, earth's total water. Salt water 97%, fresh water is present in the form of 3% only. Okay, this is the groundwater in the form of 30.1%, other is 0.9%, surface water is 0.3%, ice caps and glacier is 68.7%, and surface water, lakes 87%, river 2%, and swamps is 11%. This is a distribution of water on the earth surface. Water is used for various human activities like drinking, agriculture also. Without water, the farmers cannot grow the crops, washing, and recreation. These are the different uses of water. In addition, water is used in heat exchange processes, industries, and fire extinguisher also. You know, there are many big industries where without water they cannot operate the industries or the companies. They need water for the production, for the manufacturing of the goods. Okay, in the fire extinguisher also water is needed. The largest use of water is in agriculture sector, means the farmers need a large amount of water for producing the crops. In our country, it is estimated that more than 80% of the water available for human use is employed for agriculture practices, means 80% of the water is used for agriculture purposes. In states like Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh and Gujarat, over 85% of irrigation is done through groundwater sources, means in these states, Punjab, Haryana, Gujarat and all, they are using the water which is present in the ground. They are using the groundwater. Okay, 85% of the irrigation they used to do with the groundwater. We have been misusing and polluting water to a great extent. You all have heard about water pollution. Because of the human activities, water is getting polluted. Okay, some of the problems related to water in our country are scarcity, overuse. Means in some of the places there is scarcity of water also. People are not getting the water for their use. If they are using, other problem is overuse. Some of them will use it in a large amount. If they don't need also, they will use that water. And unequal distribution. In some parts, water is not distributed in an equal quantity or an equal amount. The annual rainfall in the country is about 400 million hectare meter. Another 20 million hectare meter flows as a surface water. This is considered more than sufficient to provide water for different uses in the country. However, overuse of water and lack of planning have resulted in a state of scarcity. It is necessary to increase the efforts related to conservation of water in both urban and rural areas. What they're saying that we should conserve water in rural areas also, in urban areas also, means in the villages also and in the towns also, water should be conserved. Otherwise, one day will come when the water will also get depleted. If you will use it in a not in a planned way, then in one day it will also get depleted in the nature. Importance should be given to educate people about the need for harvesting rainwater sources and constructing watersheds. These are the two important ways by which we can conserve water. One is rainwater harvesting, another is by construction of watershed management. Okay. World Water Day is celebrated when? On 22nd March, World Water Day is celebrated. You have to remember this one. World Water Day is celebrated on 22nd March. Now we'll read about soil. Soil. What is the main use of soil? What is the main purpose of soil? It is used for growing the plants or the trees. It is also a natural resource. Soil is a natural resource that provides minerals and water to the land plants. Okay. We used to grow the plants in the soil, and from the soil what the plant gets? Minerals and water. It is a primary nutrient base, particularly for agriculture crops. Okay, because without soil the farmers cannot grow the crops. In addition, it is a place of living for wide variety of organisms. You all know that small insects and organisms, they used to live inside the soil. Example, earthworm, crabs, insects. These are small microorganisms also, they used to live in the soil. Soil is a home for those organisms. Soil absorbs rainwater. All the rainwater which come from the sky, all that rainwater is absorbed by the soil, so that we can get the groundwater from the soil also. The soil water is used by the plants. Human activities have influenced even the soil quality also. Because of the human activity, the quality of the soil is also getting degraded day by day. Okay, because of that, soil pollution is also occurring. We are also polluting the soil. We have deteriorated the soil quality in a various way. One such case is salination of soil. Salination of soil means the amount of salt will increase in the soil. It is caused by the rise in the water table when water enters the soil at a higher rate than the rate at which it is being used from the soil. Means what is salination? How it is caused? It is caused if the water table will rise when water enters the soil at a higher rate than the rate at which it is being used from the soil. Means if the water table will rise, okay, the human are using that water, but as a human will use the water is not collecting in that soil. That causes salination of soil. Soil pollution decreases the fertility, and in extreme cases it deteriorates the soil. By soil pollution, what will happen? The fertility or the nutrients of the soil will decrease. Okay. Waterlogging and salination are the main causes of another serious problem in which fertile lands are becoming barren and useless. These are the two causes of soil which leads to the land unfertile. Okay, because of these conditions, the farmers are not used to grow the crops on the soil. Waterlogging, and next one is salination. This is called desertification. Okay, these two processes by which the soil will lose its fertility is called desertification. Means the condition will like a desert. In desert, soil is also not good for growing the crops. Like that only the soil will become. Today, the nutrients rich alluvial soil of Punjab suffers seriously from desertification caused by the introduction of excessive irrigation. As the states like Punjab and all, they are using so much they used to grow the crop so much on the land that they are facing the problem of desertification, because they are using large amount of water in that soil. Due to excessive irrigation, the soil is getting desertificated. Apart from this, the use of chemical fertilizers has also been a serious cause of soil pollution. You all know that farmers are using so many fertilizers, insecticides, pesticides on the land for growing the crop. These are also one of the cause for soil pollution. The use of pesticides to protect our natural crop has also been adding to this problem. Pesticides, weedicides, they are also creating pollution in the soil. However, the most serious threat to soil is the process of erosion. Soil erosion, about that you have read. What is soil erosion? The washing or carrying away of the top layer of the soil by wind and water. water is called soil erosion. Topsoil is getting exposed due to activities like deforestation and overgrazing. These are the causes of soil erosion: deforestation and overgrazing. Deforestation means cutting down of trees, and overgrazing means the land animals, the cows, buffaloes, etc. they used to graze the soil. That is called overgrazing. As a result, soil is being subjected to the action of wind and water. If deforestation will occur, means if the people will cut down the trees and the plants, and overgrazing means the grass which are present on the soil are eaten by the land animals, goat, cows, etc., then the soil will become loose and it will easily be carried out by the wind and water. That is called soil erosion. This is leading to a huge loss of useful fertile topsoil. You all know that the top layer of the soil is very fertile in nature. If soil erosion will occur, what happens? The fertile top layer of the soil will be washed away. You know that formation of soil occurs by a natural process called weathering of rocks. By how the soil is formed? By weathering of rocks. In your junior classes, you have studied about this. Weathering of rocks means breaking down of rocks. By this process, soil is formed. The rate at which soil formation occurs is much less compared to the rate at which soil erosion takes place. Means soil erosion takes place at a very fast rate, very rapid rate, but the formation of soil takes very large amount of time. Means it is a very slow process. For the formation of soil, it takes large amount of time, but soil erosion occurs at a very fast rate. It has led to serious concern about soil conservation. Soil protection has now become an integral part of any conservation plan. Restoring the soil quality can be a solution for many of the environmental issues bothering human life. Now, a time has came when we should conserve the soil, otherwise it will also get depleted and polluted in the future. Our next natural resource is forests. Forest is which type of resource? It is a renewable resource, renewable natural resource. Okay, forest is a renewable natural resource that have innumerable contribution to the environment. Means from the forest we get many things and they benefit us in a large amount of way, in a very forests are very important for us. It has so many importance for us. Forests maintain water cycle. About water cycle you have read, that circulation of water. Forests maintain that. They help in water cycle. They provide habitat for wildlife. Means all the animals, microorganisms, etc. they used to live in the forest. This is the habitat, home for the wildlife. They maintain soil quality by preventing soil erosion. If forest or trees, plants will be present in the soil, soil erosion will also be prevented. They provide timber and many useful products and services. From the forest, what do we get? Timber, wood, even the clothes also, fruits, medicines, raisins, gum, so many things we get from the forest. Generally, forests are indicators of the natural wealth of a nation. Means from the forest also, the nation, every country is earning a large amount of money from the forest. However, a rapid change has been noticed in the percentage distribution of forests in the world. It is now estimated that only 20% of the world's original forests remain intact and undestroyed. Now, the forests are also getting destroyed. Now, in the world, the people are estimating that only 20% of the forests are undestroyed. Other forests are means humans are destroying the forest for their benefits. Means they are cutting down the forest, they're removing the forest for construction of dams, hospitals, then for constructing the roads, etc. And for their benefits also they are cutting down the trees in the forest in order to make the homes, in order to make the furnitures, etc. In the last 20-30 years, the rate of deforestation has increased to such an extent that we are today facing several environmental problems. Now we are facing so many problems. The pattern of rainfall has changed since water cycle has been affected. If the water cycle is affected, what happens? The rainfall will also be affected in that case. The rate of soil erosion has increased as the vegetation cover on the soil has been destroyed. If the vegetation will be destroyed, means if the people will cut down the trees, what will happen? Soil erosion will occur at a high rate. It is now necessary to restore the forest by activities such as afforestation. How we can restore the forest? How we can conserve the forest? By growing more and more trees. That is called afforestation. Our next natural resource is wildlife. The term wildlife is used to describe the species of plants and animals found in the forest. In the forest, what things are present? Plants and animals. Okay, that is the term wildlife. It represents the diversity of organisms inhabiting our forests, seas and oceans. Human activities such as hunting, poaching, and capturing have severely affected the wildlife, leading to the extinction of many species. Now, people, because of their benefits and shake, they are hunting the animals, capturing the animals, because of which many of the species are getting extinct now. Many other species are facing a threat of extinction in the near future. Now, after that, what will happen in the future? Also, many of the species, many of the animals and species will we cannot see those things in the future. They will get extinct. The immediate need is the measure to be taken for the conservation of wildlife. We should now we are in a situation that we should conserve our wildlife. It is one of the most important challenge for the present and the immediate future. Efforts are being made to conserve the living resources through their maintenance in the natural habitats. National parks, wildlife sanctuaries, bird sanctuaries are examples of such conservation measures. Now the government has taken measures to conserve the wildlife. They have made different types of wildlife sanctuaries, parks, bird sanctuaries, etc. to conserve those species. Sometimes conservation of living resources involves measures which in sample population are protected in zoos, botanical gardens and other man-made situations. These are the different man-made situations by which government are protecting the wildlife. It may also involve the creation of seed banks, gene banks and similar genetic resource centers. These are different ways by which governments are conserving the forest. Our next topic is fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are non-renewable resources. Okay. So what are fossil fuels? Examples of fossil fuels: coal and petroleum. Resources like coal and petroleum products and natural gas is also one of the example of fossil fuels, are collectively called fossil fuels. So what are fossil fuels? Resources like coal, petroleum and natural gas are called fossil fuels. They are the result of photosynthetic activity of green plants which were existing millions of years ago. They got submerged within the earth crust and formed the fossil fuels. Means that when the plants will die, after some time they will get submerged in the earth crust, and after millions or billions of years ago they will be converted into fossil fuels. They are non-renewable resources. You have to remember, fossil fuels are non-renewable resources. If their consumption is not reduced, the foresee their total depletion in the near future. If we will not reduce our consumption of coal, petroleum and natural gas, one time will come when in the future we cannot use the fossil fuels, or our future generation cannot use the fossil fuels. Coal is a natural resource with high carbon content. In means coal is a form of carbon. In that in coal, large amount of carbon is present. 4 types of coal deposits are normally found. We have 4 types of coal: anthracite, lignite, peat and bituminous. Anthracite is the best quality of coal. Why? Because the carbon content is highest in anthracite. 80% of carbon is present in anthracite. Lignite has 50 to 65% of carbon. Peat contains 40% of carbon, and bituminous has less than 40% of the carbon. So the best quality of coal is anthracite and the poor quality of coal is bituminous coal, because it has only 40% of carbon. Petrol, diesel, kerosene and lubricating oils and naphtha represent various forms of petroleum products. These are the examples of petroleum products. They account for about 40% of the total energy consumed in the world. Okay, these things are also used by the people in their vehicles. So people are also consuming these at a alarming, means now everyone is using its own vehicle. So the need of petrol, diesel is also increasing. Natural gas is formed in the same way as oil. How the oil is formed? In the same way natural gas is also formed in the nature. Low sulfur content of natural gas makes it the least polluting source of fuel. Okay, in natural gas what happens? The sulfur content is very less, so it is the least polluting source of fuel, means it will not pollute our environment. Once we rediscovered these fossil fuels, we began utilizing them at an increasing rate. A total of about 227 billion barrels of oil was extracted from the fossil fuels between 1859 and 1969. About 50% of this was extracted in 100 years, while the next 50 years was extracted in just 110 years. Today, consumption rate is more than the rate of formation of fossil fuels. Means the the people which are living in this world, now they're consuming the fossil fuels at a high rate, and the formation of fossil fuels takes long time, so consumption rate is very high. In one day we consume what the earth has taken 1000 years to form. Hence fossil fuels are called as non-renewable resources. What are non-renewable resources? Non-renewable resources are those resources which will not be replenished in the nature. Examples are fossil fuels. Next is our mineral resources. This is the last topic for your in your chapter. A mineral resource is a substance that is naturally found in the earth crust and is not formed from living matter. Okay, the water mineral resource, these are naturally occurring substances. They are found in the earth crust, but it is not formed from living matter. Minerals are not formed from living things. Minerals are formed due to Earth's geological process over millions of years. Since minerals are also non-renewable resources, these are also non-renewable resources. Now we'll study about mining. What is mining? Mining is a process of extraction of minerals from the earth crust. You should remember the definition of mining. Mining is a process of extraction of minerals from where? From the earth crust. More than 100 from this process we can extract the mineral from the earth crust. More than 100 minerals including metals like gold, iron, copper and aluminum and materials like stone, sand, salt are extracted and processed for human use. These metals like gold, silver, copper, aluminum, etc., they are also extracted from the minerals. From the minerals only we are getting the metals. Mining has become more intense and widespread in recent years, causing serious environmental problems. This is mining. This is also one of the environmental problem which is causing serious effect to the environment. So this was the last topic for your chapter. We have completed this chapter. We have read about the natural resources, renewable resources, non-renewable resources, about fossil fuels. We have read about forest, wildlife, etc. We have read in this chapter. We'll discuss the question answers later on. Thank you.